What's up, everybody? Today we got a special guest in the house. He's right from here in Cincinnati, Ohio, USA, ex-former boxer, and I'm gonna introduce y'all to him when we come right back. Welcome to another episode of Ringwalk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and today we have a special guest, a Cincinnati legend. He's a very good man, y'all. Ex-former boxer, Nate Tubbs, in the house.
How y'all doing? I'd like to thank Ringwalk Podcast, Boxing Podcast, for having me on the show today, and let's get it done.
Yes, sir. My pleasure, for sure. Definitely my pleasure. So I want to just take a trip down memory lane as far as you can remember. What was your first experience in boxing? Or how did that come about?
Well, I come from a fighting family, and I've been fighting all my life, and I had a brother get murdered in 1980 named Derek Tubbs. We grew up in Evanston and Walnut Hills, so, we always fought at parties and stuff like that, and I got 12 sisters, and the thing is that boxing came along to me later, but I stayed fighting because my brother was murdered in 1980, and I had a lot of anger issues growing up. And I was quick to fight, and I played basketball for 15 years. And I didn't start boxing until 1982. And I went down, I was fighting so much, my brother took me to the gym. My brother, Tony Tubbs, former heavyweight champ, took me to the gym, and my uncle was the head trainer down there, and been fighting ever since. I gained the love of the sport. Like I say, basketball was my first love. Boxing became my second love and my eternal love. And I learned the business of boxing. So I've been promoting for about 30 years. I fought for 25. And I just love the business of boxing. And right now I'm trying to establish this Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame to help the next generation. They need guidance and need resources. And with my past experience and my national notoriety, I'm able to do a lot of things that most people can't do here.
Oh yeah, you touch on a very good subject, and I love that. So taking it back somewhat too, did you have an amateur background as well?
Yes, I fought amateur from 1982 to 87 for Fenny Street Neighborhood House. Was runner-up in National Golden Gloves. Run all type of local championships, regionals and stuff like that. But I only fought for like 5 years, and I turned pro in 1987.
Okay. Now, at the time in 1987, what was the situation with your brother in that same year? Was he
Well,
already?
basically, he won the championship in 1985.
Okay.
I got married in 1986, and I turned pro right after I got married and moved to California. And I fought out of California for about 15 years, California and Vegas. And I also went to start training with Mike Tyson in 1988. Me and Mike went through the amateurs together. I met Mike in 1984, and we built a relationship that lasted over 40 years. And that's a blessing. One thing about boxing is all depends on what an individual take for what it's worth. And what I learned is about building relationships. And one thing about doing this Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame, I got a lot of negative responses from a lot of local fighters here. And I said, I tell you what, I'm going to make some phone calls. Made some phone calls. Mike Tyson answered. Zab Judah answered. Derek Jefferson answered. Buster Douglas answered. All the superstars I called, they responded. And I'm pleased to have all of them going into the Hall of Fame this coming Friday and Saturday. It's a 2-day event, and we're going to celebrate. We're going to embrace our local stars and our international stars. We're going to embrace boxing once again in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay, man. I love that, man. I love the way you just put that down, champ. Because people need to kind of know a little insight, and we're gonna go like really in depth today. Because my angle when I talk boxing is a little bit different than other people that might talk boxing. Um, just basically how it all started with boxing in my life, uh, unbeknownst to me, is way before I was even born. Back in the 1950s, my grandfather was in the military. And my dad said when he came home in the mid 1950s, late 1950s, he took a power bag, a punching bag, and hung it on a peach tree out in Lincoln Heights. So all the kids would just come around the community, and they put on gloves with each other, be boxing and stuff like that, or hitting on the bag. And then my granddad would kind of just show them, because I think he sparred with like maybe Ezra Charles, and maybe the old Archie Moore, I believe. So that was already something that kind of was already instilled in the family. And then my dad picked up martial arts down in Hartwell back in the 1960s, I believe. Became a brown belt. And then he took me to Lincoln Heights to my uncle's house to watch Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks in 1988. That's all I needed to see, and I was hooked to boxing. I was hooked to boxing ever since, my man. Yep. Your brother Mike is the reason why I was so attracted and why I'm doing what I do to this day.
And one thing I can say about Mike, each and every fighter go through things in their lives, and it ain't what you did in your past, is what your path is going to the future. And Mike done made some tremendous changes. I was just talking on his last podcast I was on that I'm looking to reach out to Adrian Bronner, because if Mike can change, you can change. I changed, everybody else in boxing to change. Life is about making choices, and you got to choose to win. A lot of times it starts with your associations, and that's important.
Y'all hear that? So he's kind of breaking down and peeling down these layers and giving you wisdom and insight along with, talking boxing, how he came up, where he's from. And just in case for y'all that might have missed that, where are you from here in Cincinnati?
I grew up in the Walnut Hills and Evanston area. I come from a big family, so we moved around a lot. And then we got settled in Walnut Hills on Gaff Avenue.
Okay.
And then we just, I praise my mom and father because they put in that time, and most African-American homes don't have a father. My dad stayed the course up until the day he died. My mom went to work every day for 26 years before she retired. And then the most important thing is that she instilled in us a strong work ethic. I was out passing out flyers this morning about the Hall of Fame coming this Friday and Saturday, and I said, man, most important thing, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself, especially if you want it done right.
Okay. Oh, that's a lesson learned for sure. And just how you were saying earlier, I kind of picked up on how the negative response from certain local people, to me, just in my opinion, that's kind of like a crabs in the bucket type of mindset. It's like you should want the people that's in your area or your city to do good, to be able to help other people do good as well, because each one teach one. If I have a trade or skill, let me try to pass that on to the next person. We got to get out of that selfishness type of mentality as people.
Most important thing, they got to stop being followers. I send out invites to certain people. I ain't gonna say no names, but most important thing, allow the state of Ohio to acknowledge y'all on the highest level. Embrace y'all for the things y'all done put in all this hard work. Let us celebrate you. But guess what? The ones that accepted, we're gonna be celebrating this weekend.
For sure.
The ones that didn't accept, hey, come buy a ticket.
You hear it? You still got the tickets, y'all. So it's going to be going down in a major way this weekend. I'm definitely going to be an attendee on Friday, and hopefully, if by some grace I can make it on Saturday, I'm going to try to make that one too. But I'm definitely going to be there to show my support, because it's something positive, and it just, like I said, it's like it all starts to spread like a wildfire in a good way if you navigate and you conduct it just right. Everything kind of comes together like Transformers.
The most important thing is supporting. If we support one another, we can grow. Like I said, I come from a family of 20 siblings, and we stick together. Just unfortunately, I ain't never grown up. I ain't never had to call none of my siblings. You know what I mean? I had natural butt whooping skills. But one thing I learned about my sport is you can't just be a fighter. Most fighters come from out of this town, don't even go to work. I wish they'd give me a job. I used to go to work 2 hours early for the jobs that I had. But I'm saying that to say this. If we stick together, we can make this Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame just like in New York, the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And if y'all, I'm the going you bet on. You know what I mean? You can take this to the bank. From this day on, we finna put Ohio boxing on the map again. We got a strong boxing history, and we finna put it on the map.
Yeah, and it's well deserving because, you know, if we go back in time, back in my, like I said, speaking of my grandfather, rest in peace, he died back in 1963. But back in that era, you know, the Ezra Trials here in Cincinnati, so many, Tony Tubbs, Nate Tubbs, Adrian Broner right now, Ricardo Williams, Rasheed Warren, Larry Donald. It's just a lot of great boxing history, boxing trainers, boxing gyms right here. It's like a mecca right here in Cincinnati, and I don't want it to get overlooked. So that's why I want to do a podcast too, to let them know, hey, Cincinnati got a lot of things going on.
And one thing about this Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame, by me being a founder, I make the rules. You know, I've been getting a lot of phone calls on why you put me in, why he going in, and all that. Acknowledge one thing is that this going to be done from this day on every year. Hopefully, we might do it twice a year next year because we got about 30 people going in, and it's just too many. People want to make speeches and stuff like that. But we got a wonderful program. This induction program, the meet and greet, hey, it's going to be wonderful. And we've been getting phone calls. Dave Chappelle might be here. Pac-Man Jones might be here, might be attending. You know, come out and celebrate this event and watch history being made. Because one thing for sure, if don't nobody buy a ticket, history will be made May the 31st at Princeton High School.
Yes, sir. And I'm just going to read off a couple of things in this live stream. So shout outs to KMJ Network. He does a podcast. We network here in Cincinnati. He's always sharing my stuff. I'm sharing his stuff. We do roundtables on StreamYard and stuff like that. So shout outs to KMJ Networks. He says we definitely need Ohio back on the map in boxing. You're right, man.
Ohio coming back. This is going to be the start of it, May the 31st. You know, our first Ohio Boxing International Hall of Fame. And like I say, by me being a founder, I make the rules. So I got superstars coming in. I got Mike Tyson coming in, Zab Judah. I got Jamel Herring here. I got Derek Jefferson, Larry Donalds, Tony Tubbs, Robert Tubbs, Kevin Benford, you know what I mean? I got so many. Jeff Camp out of Dayton, Vonzell Johnson out of Columbus. It's going to be so many people here that you don't want to miss this. And it's just the beginning. That's the most important thing. It's going to get better and better every year. You know, hopefully we can get the city and Hamilton County behind us. I'm looking to do a museum soon. You know, I'm the type of person, I'm a doer. I've been trying to do this for the last couple of years and haven't got no financial support. So I said the last time I was down at City Hall, don't worry about it, I'll get it done. And guess what? May the 31st is going down.
Yeah, I heard it.
At Princeton High School.
Yep.
4 o'clock, doors open up at 3.
Okay, y'all, just like that. You know, starts off with that spark, and he's taking it to the other level. Y'all hear Mr. Nate Tubbs today. He's doing great works right here in Cincinnati. And not just Cincinnati, he's reaching out to all Ohio and his out-of-state friends. Mike Tyson, Zab Judah, you know. From Dayton, Ohio, Dave Chappelle, the comedian, you know. Pac-Man Jones used to play for the Cincinnati Bengals. So this is just a lovely sit-down discussion to kind of talk about all the beauty of this. And something you said earlier that I caught too was the California. So your very, very first trip to California from Ohio, you board that plane and you're flying out. Was that your first time ever flying?
Yes.
How was that
Yes.
experience, that
It
flight?
was a great experience.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And back then we had, one thing I loved about California, you can walk down the street and a person pull up on you, see you running or something, they give you $50,000, give you $1,500 a week, and get you a condo. So I love the California because the things I learned. I learned the business of boxing from California. I learned a lot of things about business. And California was a great opportunity for me to learn the things that I learned to make my life better. And one thing about me, I share my outlets. A lot of people don't like that about me, but I want to see the next man grow. So Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame is going in process of becoming a nonprofit. I'm going to start helping some of these gyms that ain't getting the funding that they needed. With all the funding being cut, we're going to start doing fundraisers and everything.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about opening up another gym myself. I'm looking at a building now.
Oh, man, that's awesome. So
we got to save these kids.
Facts. Yeah.
Kids don't have role models no more. They don't have a sense of direction. Everybody in their mind is about negativity. Then they got to understand how important it is education is. Some things I done learned in the last 48 hours, I didn't know you can go to school to learn how to fly a plane in 1 year. I'm doing the research on it now. But I'm going to share them things with everybody because you got so many choices out here to take advantage of.
Oh, man, that's a beautiful thing. Cam J, you said it's going to be an amazing event. I will be there Friday night. Okay, bro. That's great. I can't wait for us all to be together in the same building and taking pics and just, showing love,
And we're going to feed you.
And he said he's going to feed you.
A lot of events goes around in Cincinnati, they'll never feed you. They just take your money. I understand the atmosphere be good. If anybody know anything about Nate Tubbs events and promotions always fed his fans. We're going to feed you these 2 days. We're going to feed you both days. And that's unheard of. I aim to please. And we done put together a heck of a program, and we're going to celebrate. We got a few people that pulled out, for a lot of different reasons. But the most important thing, I got 30, 35 superstars coming. And we're going to celebrate each and every last one of them.
Oh, man, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. It just feels good to hear good stuff like this, especially here in Cincinnati. It seems like Cincinnati gets overlooked. It seems like with Cincinnati, when people talk about it, sometimes it's in a negative light. And that's another reason why I want to do the podcast. I'm tired of certain communities and things that you see on the news and stuff that don't really bring you joy. It doesn't uplift your spirit or make you. So I was like, I want to do something that's going to enable me to one day do great things for other people. And then I linked up with somebody who's already been there and done that. And then I can kind of learn, okay, this is how X, Y, and Z and how this go, A, B, C, and how this go. So this is a beautiful connection today.
Well, the most important thing I want everybody, this from Nate Tubbs, pay attention to the things I'm going to be doing. I did all this in the past. I lost my son in 2008. He was murdered. I shut my programs down. But I'm going to I'm in the process of getting all my programs back up and running, my group homes. I'm looking to open up another gym. And the most important thing, I'm putting together some tutors and stuff. We're going to educate these kids. Because I've been I went to 2020 juvenile detention about maybe a month ago. And I talked to about 10 kids and 6 of them couldn't read. And they was like 13, 14, 15 years old. I didn't understand that. But I don't criticize things. We just got to correct it. We got to focus on the areas they need help in. It ain't all about boxing. Because that's where a lot of fighters got messed up in their careers with contracts because they couldn't understand them. I learned the business 30 years ago. And I'm one of the greatest person in Cincinnati to speak on boxing. Because I know it on every level. I done did it all. Training, management, promotions. I done did it all. I'm educated in all those areas. And I understand there's a lot of money outside of boxing. We're making appearances, getting some type of endorsements. But it's all about how you present and carry yourself. We got to work on that.
Yes, sir.
This next chapter in my life, we're going to try to hit all those areas that need to be hit. We're going to prepare you for the future of boxing.
So, tell me the moment you realized that that boxing was more than just something to do, that it was, part of you, like part of the making of you.
Well, Tommy Harris is going into the Boxing Hall of Fame from Cincinnati. And that was my best friend growing up. I'm talking about I used to go to the gym with him and all that. And I remember me, Tommy, and Ed Hayden was best friends growing up. And I was in the gym with Tommy one day, and Buddy LaRosa was there. And I'm like, Buddy was scheduling some fights at Cincinnati Guards and stuff like that. And I told Tommy and Ed one day I can do that. They're like, man, you can't do that now. Y'all can't do it. And I've been doing it ever since. Since 1989, I've been promotions. And half the city done fought on my cards. I was doing boxing events and started in Kentucky, Earl Lincoln, Kentucky at Peel's Palace. I was doing shows every month. Everybody in boxing them came through them fought on my shows. And I helped elevate their careers.
Oh wow, that's some deep stuff, y'all. Okay. So pretty much you would say that was it Buddy LaRosa's or somebody alongside him that kind of was the first people that believed in you, like, okay, hey, we see it in you, or that person or that trainer, like.
Nope, I believe in myself.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm a strong believer in if they can do it, I can. You know, what I learned a long time ago in California is like life is about learning the process. We as individuals don't like the process of things. And I was just telling my son the other day, the process is the greatest thing on planet Earth. You just got to have the patience and do what's required to be done. It'll be better in the long run. Trust what I tell you. And that's the message to my son.
Oh, man, I like that message, man. Yeah, for sure, man. So we're gonna keep talking, y'all, and go to peel back all these different layers, man. So when you look back on your career, what moments inside the ring stand out the most to you?
In 1984, I went to South Africa and knocked out Corrie Sanders. That was the year Nelson Mandela became president. Nelson Mandela made a phone call to me in my hotel room and told me I must win. And we went to the inauguration, but it was so many people there we couldn't even get in the building. You know what I mean? So we stood a long distance away watching him become the first black African-American president. That's the greatest moment of my career. And then I knocked Corrie Sanders down in 2 rounds in South Africa.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then I was doing my research on it. Now, Corrie Sanders went on to knock out Vlad Klitschko.
Just like I knocked him out.
Wow.
In 2 rounds.
So y'all hear that? Vlad Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko. The 2 brothers that was known to reign the heavyweight division for years and years and years. He knocked out the man that knocked out Vlad. Now, ain't that something?
And it was a wonderful feeling because when he fought his big brother in California, I flew to California, went to the press conference, got a chance to interact with him. You know, when he seen me, he embraced me as I was the first person to ever knock him out. And I was hoping for a rematch if he won. Unfortunately, he lost that fight. I took my brother's youngest son to the fights with me that night. First time he ever been to a real pro championship fight at the Forum in California. It was a wonderful experience. Wonderful experience.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, Corrie Sanders got murdered maybe 4 or 5 years ago in South Africa. He was having his daughter's 21st birthday party. Some guys came in and robbed the place, and he jumped in front of a bullet to save his daughter. I applaud the man today. God rest his soul.
Rest in peace, Corrie Sanders. Wow. That's something right there. So, like, now another fight that sticks out, and I know you, because I had seen you speak before, about David Tua. Now, David Tua was like the Mike Tyson version, Samoan version of Mike Tyson. Good chin, can hit, short, stocky. Now, how'd that fight come about?
Well, basically, I was locked up. And like I say, back then, I was fighting a lot. I had anger issues, and I caught an assault case and did like 120 days in the Justice Center. And they called me on a 2-day notice to fight David Tua. I was in process of buying a house. And, you know, back then when you're a winner, promoters like to give you money, keep trying to keep you happy. So they kept offering me money. So he ended up giving me $50,000 of my money to fight David Tua. And I bought a house in Forest Park. I moved my family from downtown and put them in a much better situation, you know, and I took the fight on 2-day notice, not expecting to win, but to go close the deal and get the money to buy my house. Because at that point, I could afford a loss. And actually, that fight got me the Corrie Sanders fight.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I lost to David Tua in 2 rounds. I ain't going to speak on basically what happened on air, but you know what I mean? I lost to David Tua. At the end of the day, that's what the results was.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the opportunity to fight Corrie Sanders. They gave me 3 months to get ready. I said they really don't do the homework. I knock southpaws out.
Okay. So you picked up on that early in the
Real early.
career and amateurs, kind of like filling out those southpaws.
But they didn't do their homework. I was a southpaw through my amateur career. I fought southpaw.
Oh, okay.
So I knew the basics of southpaws do. So, I knew how to, and then I had a good trainer. We learned how to adjust to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And they lacking that in the game today. Not saying everybody, but it's a lot of them is lacking that. That's why I'm going to open up a gym, hopefully within next few months, if I get this location, and I'm going to educate them. We're going to teach. It's so easy to go in the gym and see what a person do good.
Right.
I'll focus on what they're doing wrong and how can we capitalize off of it.
Yes, sir.
And that's the teaching I came through. We already know what he do good. Let's figure out what he's doing wrong and how we can use that to our advantage.
Okay. I like that.
And do what's required and stop trying to take shortcuts. Our life would be much better. Much better.
Yes, sir. Fights in the ring, boxing. Was you kind of nervous at all? Did you have nerves?
Actually, it's funny you asked me that because my first fight for road, and I fought a big old Caucasian guy. You know what I mean? I'm coming from the streets, and the guy was kind of big, kept hitting me in the back of my head, wants the bell ring, so I picked him up and slammed him. Got disqualified. I didn't care nothing about boxing. I wanted my respect. So I'm not no scary type person. Most people know me, know what I'm capable of doing. So I'd be in a comfort zone because I learned at an early age, you don't go places with a bunch of guys, especially you got to know the people you surrounded with. I just seen too many people get murdered about what somebody else did, the problem the other person caused.
Right.
So I do a lot of stuff by myself. Because the average person know I would go to the next level. It's so easy to make a wrong move.
Right.
I got so many buddies in jail. You know what I mean? Doing life, doing a bunch of them just came home from doing this.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of time, and that's all the time.
You gotta make them right choices.
You gotta make them the right choices. So he said, "Big ups, Ringwalk Boxing Podcast. Big up to Nate Tubbs, Dante Bradford, my guy at the Lincoln Heights. We call him Charlie Boo. He said, "What's good, champ? Thanks for making Ohio boxing great again."
Tim, I appreciate it, and come out and support. And I promise you're going to have a wonderful time. It's going to be the meet and greet. You're going to have a great experience. Because if you come there and somebody say they ain't giving you no autograph, just tell me. Because that's unacceptable. Because I came up in an era that if it wasn't for the fan, it wouldn't be no us. And I remember one time me and my brother was at the International Hall of Fame, and a lot of people weren't signing autographs. They asked us, I'm glad they still acknowledge us. We signed autographs with about 2 hours. They was glad that we had the patience that made us who we are today. So we appreciate y'all. Want to say thank you.
That's what's up. And I got a question from Cam J Network. So big shout outs to Cam J Network out of 513. That's Cuzzo. He says, for Nate, what does he think of the current state of boxing of this era right now?
Well, it's a lot difficult because select a few. Mike Tyson, Holyfield, George Foreman, all them was making the big dollars. Now you can have like Keyshawn Davis. I don't take nothing from him. You know what I mean? He's a hot prospect, but he already champion at 13 years. The most important thing, the state of boxing today is a little unorganized. We don't have no representation. That's the biggest problem. And then they need to understand there's more money around boxing. Get your act together, start doing the right thing. You might get an endorsement deal or something. I think Shakur Stevenson got a gym shoe deal. And opportunities out there. We just need to take advantage of them and understand the things we need to do to get there.
Well put for sure. I like that perspective, and I like Keyshawn Davis. I think he got a fight coming up soon.
He's a good fighter.
Yeah, he has a good movement. He kind of got like a full package. I like them guys.
I like him. I definitely like him.
But I'm a Tank Davis fan, so I don't want to ever like really sound like I'm throwing shade on the next person because I'm a fan of a certain guy. Because I appreciate boxing in all its glory, like in all the different styles. to me, that's what makes boxing. I like Muhammad Ali versus Frazier because you got two different style fighters trying to figure each other out. Or Ken Norton versus Ali. You know, Ali was having problems with that cross guard
Right.
that he did, but it made the fight more intriguing. You know, going back for me to look back because I wasn't born back then, but I look back on YouTube and running back, man.
My opinion about Tank, I came through the era of like you don't fight everybody the same way, and Tank is a tremendous fighter. Upcoming a rematch soon, I think it's like July 20th, giving away 3 and 4 rounds because you get a smart fighter, he get up 4 rounds, all he got to do is win 3 or 4 more. You know, he don't win the fight.
That's true.
I say you got to start early with him, go to the body, and put your problems is what he done accomplished. You know, they say look at his resume and stuff like that. One thing about promoting boxers, he paying some ridiculous money. Terrence Crawford for the fight Canelo, and that's worth about $500 million. Hey, wish that was in my era, because I'll fight anybody.
Right, yes, sir, for sure. Now, just to kind of rewind back to what I was talking about, one of my favorite boxers before my time, the late great Muhammad Ali. Did you have interaction with him? Like, did you get to meet him in person?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, Ali bought the house my mom lived in today, 44 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Tony fought for Muhammad Ali, and it started about Ali was going to get Tony a signing bonus. Tony just said about my mama's house. So we've been in college here for 44 years because of Muhammad Ali. And don't get me wrong, Tony put in the work. He earned everything he was given. And most important thing, they canceled the 1980 Olympics because it was boycotted. And Tony went here and turned pro, had his first pro fight in Cincinnati at Cincinnati Gardens the day Aaron Pryor won his championship. And it's been a blessing ever since. Fighters do have their bumps and bruises. You know, one thing I can say, learn, it's just like all athletes. They say the average basketball player after 5 years, he's broke, trying to keep up with the Joneses. His homework and seeing the things that other athletes do. He chose not to be one of them.
Okay.
I think I'm speaking about the guy that he paid in advance his child support $1 million or some dollars up front, got custody of his child. Hey, I applaud him. Set the examples now so we all can follow.
Yes, sir, for sure. And just to kind of rewind back in our conversation, because you speak about basketball and you playing basketball, who would you say you would kind of compare yourself to similar style? Like a Shaquille O'Neal, who's like a center?
No, I was more of a point guard. I was a show off. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's what ended me in being boxing. I think it was like 1979 or something. We played at Xavier University against some little teams from Alabama. We was top team in the city. I played for the YMCA, and we played on national TV. First time in my life, I tried to share the ball instead of being a gun. You know, and I take control of the whole game. I was a shooter. And they give me the ball, I'm shooting it. And this particular time, I decided to play team ball. And we lost about 20 points. And my coach, he ended my basketball career because he didn't give me my most.
Shout out to Rico, my brother, to put together.
Well, there's so many of them, you know what I mean? And my biggest thing was I never had a superstar. Because I got away from managing fighters a long time ago because back then when I came along, all the fighters had 10 babies. They had child support. You know, they want me to pay their child support and all that. I subcontracted my fighters out. Like, I got to fight for you. I can't pay your bills. You know what I mean? They always need money and all that type of stuff. So I got away from management and I went into promotions. And I subcontracted a lot of my fights out because I had resources. And then I learned the business of boxing where a lot of fighters came and I had Jay-Z fighters fighting on my shows. And they was paying Mike Tyson, a lot of his guys out of his camp was fighting on my shows. Roger Mayweather fought on my show 8 times. You know, it was just how you negotiate and having a platform. And at that time, I had a platform for fighters. You know, you had somebody, they know you're doing the fight. Everybody and their mama calling you to get on the card. So I started charging $500 for a spot. It was a wonderful thing back then. Wonderful.
Yeah, yes, sir. Cam J Network, salute. He says, who is your favorite current fighter?
Probably Tank. I like Keyshawn Davis. It's just so many.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of them ain't getting exposure. Like they got this guy out of Cleveland. I think his name is Abdullah
Mason, the
Mason.
young boy, yeah, he tough.
He's tough,
Yeah,
but he
he's
got
tough.
2, 3 brothers that tough. I watched him through the amateur career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm going to start doing a national tournament sometime soon. We're trying to put it together now, and as a fundraiser, give back to some of the gyms because a lot of these gyms struggling right now.
Okay.
They don't get the financial support, so I'm gonna try to help them.
Oh, that's
I'm gonna
nice.
try to help them.
Wow.
You know, we're gonna do a show and split the money amongst a couple of the gyms. We can't take care of all of them, but we're gonna figure out something. I'm looking to do a marathon sometime soon. I'm working on that too. I didn't know you can hire a coordinator. They already got all the resources. You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
I got a lot of good things coming soon. Then we're looking to do a museum soon. You know, because we will not be denied. I refuse for these people to keep telling me no. I never accepted no anyhow. That's what we're doing. The Boxing Hall of Fame with no support of the city or Hamilton County, and we getting it done. Thanks for all the supporters that I did get.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So as far as the opponents that you fought in the past, which opponent tested you the most, mentally and or physically?
Well, I got a bunch of them. I had, I think 22, 24 fights.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the type, I fought for money. You know, I fought, my 5th fight, I fought a guy, Eddie Gonzalez, he had 60-some fights.
Oh, wow.
You know, but I was with Tyson and camped with Tyson. And, you know, working with Tyson, you build a level of confidence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're getting your butt beat or not, but just getting in there with Mike Tyson builds confidence. And I fought Eddie Gonzalez. I was in training camp with Mike. We went to the weigh-ins, and a guy named Mike the Bounty Hunter had an altercation and broke a young lady's jaw, and they needed a replacement. And I say, for $7,500, I'll fight anybody in this room. I ain't care who they was. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I fought Eddie Gonzalez, and that was my first nice check. You know, and I didn't care nothing about the win. Everybody thought I won. They called it a split decision. I lost, but I could afford the loss. Eddie Gonzalez was fighting Larry Holmes next for $500,000. Then the promoter was trying to sign me and all that, and I started educating myself about the sport, understanding how these things go this way, and put myself in a position where it won't happen no more.
Yes, sir, for sure. All right, so your brother, your older brother, Tony Tubbs, through your lens and through your eyes, kind of talk about that timeline when you went out to California, you doing your thing and he doing his thing. Because when he won when he became champion, was that WBA?
Yes, he won the WBA in 1985, beat Greg Page. Tony is like, you know, everybody had their heroes, and Tony was always my hero. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody had people they idolize and all that. I idolize everything about my big brother because he gave us inspiration. You know what I mean? He took care of his family. You know, he took care of me and my brother Derek. And he used to come home from training camp or come home from a tournament or something and buy us little Cadillacs and stuff. You know what I mean? And he showed me how to dress. I wear a bunch of suits because I seen him wear a bunch of suits. And he was just always my idol growing up. And he led the way. He's one of the best boxing heavyweights and one of the fastest heavyweights in the early 80s. You know, and everybody have their setbacks. You know, a lot of inactivity and stuff like that, taking fights on short notices and stuff, but he'll still win. He just had natural ability. And he was always my inspiration. And I thank God for my big brother.
For sure. Shout outs to Tony Tubbs of Cincinnati, of course, his big brother. Now, speaking of him and then Ali and yourself, as far as Muhammad Ali, was there any sparring or any training that y'all did?
Not me. Tony sparred with. See, we got the best of both worlds. Tony sparred with Muhammad Ali for years.
Okay.
I think Muhammad gave Tony his first black eye at 16 years old.
Okay.
And Tony came home and like, I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna get him back. You know. And like I say, we had the best of both worlds because I spent majority of my career with Mike Tyson.
Okay.
For years. You know what I mean? And I stayed with Mike so long because I learned things around him. I learned the business and I made contacts. Mm-hmm. You know, I built resources. And I remember Mike said something not too long ago. He said, I don't know no person that everybody likes. You know what I mean? His mother-in-law love me, his daddy-in-law love me, his family love me, you know what I mean? I call his mama-in-law mama, his daddy-in-law pops, you know what I mean? And just build relationships. And I always been that type of guy, and I'm a very loyal guy. Loyalty is very important to me. And I got, like I say, friendships over 40 years, you know? And they know they can count on me. My word is my bond.
Yes, sir, for sure. I got another question. So shout outs to Excessively Black, my cousin Kendall from Lincoln Heights. He says, "Hey there, Mr. Tubbs. What are your thoughts on some of the exhibition fights that take place today?"
Well, me, myself, I think it's a money grab. And, you know, I think it's hurting boxing because a lot of them saying, I don't really want to pinpoint nobody, but I'm going to say this. A lot of them saying we made $100 million. A lot of that stuff is being exposed now because they falsifying paperwork saying they made $100 million when they made $20 million. But $20 million is just as good as $100 million to me.
Right.
You know, and I think it's just they need to get out of it. You know what I mean? And some people call me about an exhibition with some football and baseball players. I'm like, if y'all paying $20 million, y'all paying that type of money. I'm always interested, you know, but I think it's a joke, though. I think they need to start making these fighters fight each other. Do elimination tournament like Don King used to do back in the day, you know, and everybody trying to handpick their fights to keep that zero. You know, I'm a strong believer in, hey, put the best with the best and may the best man win.
I like you just made a very, very pivotal and great point right there. So I'm gonna let y'all marinate on that, y'all. You heard what he said because I've heard a few people say that, like Rolly Romero. People got their own thoughts on him, but he said in the interview he wants the best to fight the best. You know, he don't feel like a person just because they built a name after so long, they should be able to just take all these easy fights or fight these entry level fighters that are like what you might consider to be green. They might got a zero on their record, but they really don't got a lot of experience. So I don't think it's right step up fights. You know what I mean? To be fighting somebody at the level that he about to fight.
Well, that's where the matchmakers comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And I give a shout out to Mike Melendez. I think he's one of the best matchmakers in the game.
Yes, sir.
Because one thing about Mike Melendez, he can go on the computer and tell you everything about that fighter from his amateur career all the way up to his pro career.
Yes, sir.
And knowing how to match a fighter. You know, me being a promoter, I might say, well, I got a guy 18-0. I'll stay away from the punchers. You know, then you start designing what you want to put in front of your fighter if you know the business. You know, if you got a boxer, you want to put a brawler in front of them. You know, they can't punch though. You know what I mean? Because being a puncher, you could always get lucky. The fight ain't never over with if you can punch. You know,
That's
but
true.
just knowing, you know, your craft and knowing your fighter. It's hard to match a person that you don't know. You know, and you good, you got to fight for my money. You know, I'm the body laying down. You know, you're going to have to beat this. You're going to have to win this fight. Mm-hmm. You're going to earn your money that night you fight for me.
For sure. Yeah. So to everybody out here viewing this on FB, because I got a lot of Facebook friends, it's really, really important that y'all go from Facebook over to YouTube to Ringwalk Boxing Podcast. Hit a thumbs up on there, please. Show the support and love to me and Big Brother Nate. That way we can keep giving y'all the best show because we need to get these views up, y'all. So just show some love. And remember, this weekend, for those who need tickets, the Ohio, you can break it down better than me.
Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame is Friday, meet and greet at 7-Eleven at the UAW Hall in Evendale at 708 Reading Road. Starts at 7. Saturday is the whole Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame. 4 o'clock, doors open up at 3. We serving dinner both nights. If anybody know Nate Tubbs, you're going to eat good coming to my events.
Hey, you can't go wrong with that, y'all. He's going to feed you. You're going to have good hospitality. And you're just going to have a good time. It's going to be good vibes, y'all. And it's all about giving that love back, and that's what he's doing. He's doing something big right here, y'all. Regardless of the naysayers, because you're always going to have naysayers and people that don't believe in your dream or whatever. but he believed in himself, like he said before. So self-belief is one of the best beliefs. And it's still going to be a successful thing because at the end of the day, it's that old cliche, where you want to go or manifest to want to do, nobody else can stop that but yourself. And that's what he's breaking down today to y'all.
And just to say this, come out and support and witness history. No matter what happened, May the 31st, history is being made, whether people buy a ticket or not. History will be made May the 31st at Princeton High School. First time ever, Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame, and it's going to be here for years to come. Every year, starting from this day on.
Yes, sir. So what was life like for you once the gloves came off? When you was kind of like not even an active boxer, when you just started doing things outside of boxing?
It was basically with me, it was adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
Because despite me being a fighter, and if I ran into a misunderstanding, my mindset was a sucker punch him. You know what I mean? Because that confidence level.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older, it cost me a lot of problems in courts, paying people off and stuff like that, where I'm learning to ignore people's problems. Mm-hmm. And then I'm a giver. I'm a helper. I share things. I want to see the next person elevate. If anybody know me, know that's my history. But I'm also not that guy. Don't take my niceness for granted because I can switch that button. And it's been proven too many times over the years. 60 years old, got history all over the city. Most people stay in neighborhoods. I got history all over the city. When I was coming up, you couldn't go in other neighborhoods.
I know Cincinnati, geographically, some of y'all is not from our city. And the reason why I know Cincinnati, I used to be a delivery driver for 17. Like you got Walnut Hills on this side, Evanston over here, Madisonville just above there. And you got the other side, the west side, the Fade, Westwood, Price Hill, downtown. So like he was saying, he was all
where. Mm-hmm. And y'all, a lot of people know me. Come out and witness this. It started betting 50 games right now. But thanks for coming. Might not sign an autograph, but we're going to get a picture. Take a picture.
So, identity at all, or did you find a new purpose right away?
Well, a lot of stuff I did while I was doing boxing. I opened up some group homes back in, I think it was like 2000. I started Nate Tubbs Group Home Amateur Boxing Program. And I always gave back to the kids. And one thing about me, I do one thing and it connects with everything else. I got sisters say, why do you do so many things? I say, because one thing, school feeling good about themselves. But guess what, y'all? It's coming back soon. Everything is being uproared. When my son was murdered in 2008, I shut down, lost my way for about 10 years. I'm back focused now. You know what I mean? We got a lot of things finna happen. And 2026, I'm expecting huge things to happen. We're going to do something. They got a pilot program over in Lunkin Airport. You can go get your pilot license to drive Delta airplanes in 1 year. I'm going to make some type of... Life is about making choices. You can choose to do the wrong thing, but you can also choose to be the right thing. I'm going to be there to try to help. Me and my organization are going to try to give back like we always did, but we're going to try to point you in the right directions. I got an association of collaboration with a lot of apprentice programs, and I'm coming back, y'all. Nate Tubbs is back.
Yeah,
we will not be denied.
Mm-hmm. So like back in the days, like in preparation for a fight, did you have multiple rounds with different people?
Well, it started as an amateur, I did, but once I turned pro, I got connected with Mike Tyson after going through the amateurs with Mike. I got connected with Mike Tyson in 1988 after he fought my brother. Me and him reconnected, and I spent almost 20-some years with him. So then I was with George Foreman when he fought Tommy the Duke Morrison. I boxed George, I think, twice. And they wanted me to stand in front of him, but I was like 13-0 then. I say, I can't stand in front of George. My career be over with, because he was so big and so strong. So I just really utilized my speed and moved on him. And I worked with him for about maybe a month. I think I boxed him only twice, but, they kept me in camp for a month just in case they might use me. But sparring was mostly with Mike Tyson. I spent majority of my career with Mike.
Okay.
And then, the sparring partners, we sparred some days when Mike didn't come to the gym a few days, might be once a week, he might take off for whatever reasons. And that was a wonderful thing.
Oh wow. And you know, like I said, I mean Mike Tyson was definitely my inspiration to why I love boxing on TV. And I go sit. That was his guy. So then I go from being a Mike Tyson fan, stayed a Tyson fan, but then also started gravitating towards Holyfield. Real tough dude. Corrie fought George Foreman. He was just a tough guy. And then after that, you know, people didn't probably, but he shot.
You know, like, and Holyfield, Mike took Holyfield lightly, and they said he had a bad. They really thought Holyfield had a bad heart. Whatever that situation, do the right thing, and you like my brother. You know what I mean? And let's say you always show up, and he gave me the world, and I
for sure. And we were just speaking about Holyfield, Riddick Bowe. Now, far as Holyfield,
I think I was somewhere in a situation, so I ain't make it to Tokyo.
Okay.
You know, Buster, he's actually going to, you know, things happen. You know, it was a bad night for Mike that night. And Holyfield was on his A game. Buster Douglas took Holyfield like, I guess he got that money and, you know, he had a secured $24 million and he took Holyfield lightly. But we all go through them things. And one thing I like about Floyd Mayweather, every time he fight, he going to be 150%. That's just him, you know. And I think he was the best ever in his era, you know what I mean? But that's still to be questioned. But the question we'll never find out. You know, he proved he was the best in his era. But when you start comparing people, as a lot of people think, question me about what my belief between Tyson and Muhammad. And Muhammad found a way to win. Tyson came out prepared to win. You know, Muhammad had to make adjustments, and his greatness came not just in the ring, but the things he stood for outside the ring. You know, individual, his standards still carry on as of today. You know, think very highly of him today.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And bless his soul.
Yes, sir.
He left his mark.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and for the people in the chat, there's a link for the Ohio Boxing Hall of Fame. There's a link there, so you can go to that. That way you can look at the information or whatever, and there are still tickets to be sold for you to be able to attend the event.
And tickets will be sold at the door. You know, you can go on VikeNation.org, pick your tickets up at Princeton High School for the induction. You can also go on either call Nate Tubbs at 513-633-7345. I'm delivering the tickets. I'm like the mailman. Call me, I'm on my way. You know what I mean? We got to make this event a success because it only elevates us to the next level. We looking at the Holyfields and Riddick Bowe's going in March. You know, so we're going to keep bringing y'all stars. We're going to get y'all on this bandwagon, and we're going to ride it all the way out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But the big guys of this division, the heavy losses or whatever, one time, that the three biggest names, that's like 20 years old.
Oh, yeah, Mike. After this Dupo's fight, might be next in line.
Really young, and he hit like a man strip. But you might do with a southpaw like you said, because he's southpaw. And you know that logic that you do. They don't have that in their mind to understand a southpaw stance.
Most important thing is about teaching. You know what I mean? I was just fortunate to fought my amateur career as a southpaw. So I knew my do's and my don'ts. You know, I understood about how these guys is beating guys and amateurs now off natural ability. You don't get me wrong, they got some teaching going on, but I'm a study, you know, because everybody think they're going to graduate and succeed together.
Oh, yeah, for sure. In the life of Nate Tubbs, look like
to come up. Most important, at the end of the day, you got to have a plan, like depending on other people. Myself, and for us, and trying to get the city involved and get behind this movement, because boxing kind of slacking down in Ohio. You know what I mean? And he got the number, because like I say, teamwork make the dream work. And I'm not leaving nobody out just because Kevin going in the Hall of Fame, which it consists
So, looking back on Wayne, uh, mm,
sacrifice we make, the ups and downs, and everybody can't stand that pressure. I've been in a hot seat all my life to see both our sons and our nephew going into the Hall, and we'll see you this weekend.
that's lovely. Um, so, what are you most proud of when it's all said?
Learn your business and be true to the sport. It ain't no halfway doing it. You can't halfway do boxing.
Mm,
If you ain't willing to give it 100%, go into service. Go join the Army or something. I want to give a shout out to the Army and the Navy and Queen City classmen to be passed out at the events. And I remember it was time I wouldn't tell a person going to service. 2008, I had 6 kids from my program going to service. 2 of them went in the National Guards. 2 of them went in the Army, and 2 of them went in the Navy SEALs. And the 2 that went in the Navy SEALs, the Tubbs is proud of y'all.
What would you want your name to mean?
I could for the sport.
Yeah, respect goes a long way.
Goes a long ways.
And it has to be a two-way street. People, I respect you, you respect me, and vice versa.
I live by it.
Yes, sir, for sure.
I stand on it, as they say nowadays.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now, what should the world remember about the Tubbs brothers?
Well,
You and
of course, my brother that was murdered in 1980, getting tight. Everybody know Derek Tubbs, the one getting inducted too. Support this thing because I'm saying we because it takes a team. Teamwork make the dream work.
Oh yeah, yes, sir. And I also messages of hope and positive, accessible.
Stefan got a good dream. Is keep striving for the most. Do your due diligence. Everything starts made it, and they can never take that from.
Podcast as far as just a different time of that timeline. In Louisville, Kentucky. Wanted to go down there just so I could see it before going through Louisville. So that's gonna be one of my on my bucket list to get down there and see the Muhammad Ali Museum.
It's beautiful.
Oh man, can't
We've
wait.
been down there a few times. We're looking to go again soon.
Okay. Definitely a legend that people are just crazy about. His star power is so huge. Is your other brother, Mike Tyson. Such an impact on. It was a lot of bumps in the road in his life. The industry of the boxing, all that. It just like Mike been through a whole lot. But I love to see him in this present day. I saw his interview with.
It's been 17 years since we flew to Arizona to the funeral, and Mike's because my son was following week. His wife now, and she keep him settled about starting a trucking company because I start mine around. I said, sister, if you can manage Mike Tyson, my brother's blessed, and understand that, use an inspiration to the world, and I know your story. Years that it'll never change, and I've never been the type that never wanted nothing from you. I've been a real friend. I'm here now.
Man, that's a beautiful relationship. Or how did y'all really all the way connect?
I met Tyson in 1984 at the Ohio State Fair.
Okay.
And it was about back then, you used to have 1984 was one of the last huge tournament.
Okay.
And we was up there with Ricky Warmack, Mike Tyson. We was up there with Anthony Oden, so many top fighters. And Mike Tyson and me. In the championship, hit me with a solar plex shot, which I never even heard of a solar plex. Night and knocked him out in like 30. He said he didn't tape me and Mike Tyson. Then Mike was last time he was here at the casino, and I gave Mike that tape, and then I seen Jerry Goff at the Muhammad Ali funeral. So I put him and Mike back in touch with each other. It was a wonderful thing. A lot of things about history, and you build relationships and your word. And understanding what friendship is and valuing friendship. You got so many people now that take advantage of friendships, don't really value it no more. And it's just ridiculous now. We got to get that little boxing back on the map where I'm going to educate these
Yeah, so for sure, man, I had a beautiful time here. Uh, I really appreciate your presence and you gracing and blessing us with your presence to uh, kind of go down the memory lane way back of how it started and not where.
We all got to work together in order to make this thing work. Now, I can't do it alone. I can put forth effort. I can pave the way, but everybody got to get on board.
Hey, I heard that, y'all. That's gonna be the new saying. Make boxing great again. And it's about to be Indiana that had one, which they are next door neighbors. Now Ohio is going down right here. And I'm just happy to be a part of it, y'all. So make sure y'all reach out. That link's in the comments, and y'all make sure y'all reach out to grab you a ticket. Because you want to be a part of this. You don't want to miss this, especially if you're a boxing fan.
You don't want to miss this if you ain't a boxing fan. Tina Newman, my sisters, you know what I mean? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to make this thing happen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Going to make it happen. All my cooks, I want to say thank y'all, my cleanup crew and all that. Willie Dobbs or Dabs or whatever your name was. You know, I call you you milk the clock. You the master of it. But I want to say thank you. Because it's only going to get better.
Yeah, yeah. Only going to get better, y'all. Y'all hear that. And, you know, put it all in perspective, y'all. To kind of sum it all up, I wanted to say special shout outs to Nate Tubbs, special shout outs to Cincinnati, special the Lackeys, the Carters, the Friersons. I just want to say shout outs to all of y'all because y'all showing that support. Just the smallest thing. Don't cost nothing. Go on Facebook, share this. Share it and tag it to a friend or inbox it to a friend or email it to a friend. However you want to do it. But just let the word get around so people can see this beautiful body of work. And as it unfolded and went down today, it was nothing short of being great.
And I just apartments. His family and friends come out and support Mike Stanford being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I wish he'd have still been on. Got Aaron Pryor going in as a Charles. A lot of other people that's come in, and with these, I just want to say thank y'all for the support.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for everybody for your support. To have a platform like I got with the podcast to enable for situations like this to take place, so people can get their flyers right now abroad throughout the nation of America. He's bringing them right here to Cincinnati, right here to Ohio. This is bigger than what y'all, some people hear it, but do y'all really understand the magnitude of this movement? This is big, y'all. So please show the support. You ain't got to worry about what another person say. As long as you want to be there and you want to support, you do just that.
Come and enjoy the experience because it's going to be well worth it.
All right. So shout out to my big bro JC in the house. I can always count on him. We got friendship going back some decades, and we still rocking with it.
Shout out to JC too.
Yes, sir. And Doobie the Don out in Boston, Massachusetts. Shout out to you, brother. Thanks for coming in and tuning in. Cam J, Wayne Evans, all you guys, thanks for showing that love today here at Ringwalk Boxing Podcast. And hopefully in the future, who knows, it might be around two. We might link up again and do something like this again.
I'm always open to come and support y'all because I appreciate y'all supporting me. I want to shout out the Ringwalk Podcast for having me here today. And thanks for everything.
You are very, very welcome, sir. Anytime, you want to link up, we communicate, we're going to make it happen. Just a step away. So, okay, y'all. So I want to say shout outs to everybody that tuned in today. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, share. Also, if you want to show your support, in the description area, I have a clothing store online, Ringwalk Boxing Podcast. I got the hats, I got the shirts. When it gets chillier in the fall, we got the hoodies, we got water bottles, we got all kind of stuff. Ringwalk Boxing Podcast merch. So if you want to show your support to this channel, just go to the description area. They do deliver internationally, so anywhere in this world, all the way from Belgium back up out here in America, they're gonna get your package to you. So I want to say thanks again, and we're gonna catch y'all in the next round. Peace.
Peace.